one. I'm live. Hey, everybody. Hey, Josh, you're already in the chat talking about the taste of cardboard. I love it. Yep, we're going to have them real soon. Real soon. I heard a rumor. Maybe next week. Wouldn't that be awesome if they could ship them next Monday? We might have them by the midweek. How is everybody? As you can see, still no Phil. AJ had to bail on me today. Jessica bailed on me today. Nor bailed on me today. They're sitting over there playing a game. I think they're going to go home as soon as Jessica beats Nor. As soon as the game's over. It's not looking good for Jessica right now.
Hey, I won the first one, though.
Won the first game in 3 hands.
You lose the second one in 3 hands.
At least the second one in 3. Don't eat your foils, Josh. That's a good strategy there, Doug. Thanks for reminding him. Hey, Anthony, how are you? Michael, how are you, buddy? I'm missing my buddy Phil. It's been like, 3 or 4 weeks, and I think it'll be another 2 weeks before he's back. Yep, Doug unrestrained tonight, all by himself. Oh, wait a minute. They're shaking hands over there. Nor really did win in 3?
Yep.
Wow.
All based off a bluff.
All on a bluff. Wow.
Tell them about a bluff.
No, I'm not going to tell everybody. We don't want him to have any idea what Nor's going to be playing when he's at the regional.
Oh, yeah.
Or the.
He's already got
Wait a
his
minute.
spot.
You don't even have to go to the regional. You're skipping the regional, going straight to the national. That's right.
Playing the second.
Nor's the only one playing in the national so far. He has already got his spot. That is awesome. Doug Taylor, you are correct. It's Doug and Doug unplugged. Hey, there's the mage. Oi, how are you, buddy? It's been a while. I'm glad you're with us because we're going to do some Rollings questions on these new cards. No, don't tell me there's no sound. Please don't tell me there's no sound. Hi, Sean. Are you messing with me? Oh. We got sound, right? My mic is going crazy on here. I think we got sound. I think you're messing with me. That would be hilarious if I just spent the first 3 minutes talking to myself. Yo, there's Ricky. We got an oi and a yo tonight. I love it. Nor, do I have sound?
You do, I just checked.
Okay, thanks. These guys are messing with me. There is sound, Doug Taylor finally says. Michael says, I hear you. Whew, you guys shouldn't scare me. You know I can't handle this technical stuff when I'm all by myself. Even though Nor's here to help, he's about to head out. You guys have a great night. Bye. Love you too, kid. I don't know when I'll see you guys again because I'm going to Windy City.
I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be here for a few hours on Wednesday. All right. You guys have a good night.
Thanks,
See ya. What, Mage? Please. What do you mean? You're the go-to rules guy, right? Are you saying I should just wait and ask Dave? Well, I got a doozy up for you, so I want to ask you anyways. Tomorrow is April Fool's. Yep. Hey, Phil, how are you, buddy? It's good to have you on. I'd like to have your input on this one, too, because I think it's a good one. What happened? Where'd King Arthur go on my deck list here? We're still having some issues with cardio, right? We'll get it there. Let me refresh this page here. All right. I'll tell you what I'm thinking in just a minute. Let's get a few more people time to get on here. We got 5 likes already. Thank you, guys. Like and subscribe. You know what they say. Ring that bell for notifications. Don't want to miss anything. I've got nothing major to announce today, but a couple of things going on. As you know, Origins is coming up in June. I hope you guys are all making your plans to be here. I did not find out if there will be 1 pint glass or 4 with the new IP on the glasses. I should have looked into that a little bit more. I have heard that there was a set, and sets and pint glasses are usually 4, but we shall see. I hope it's 4, and I can't wait to tell you guys what the IP is. We'll talk about it next Monday night, because I heard a rumor the official announcement is going to happen one day this week. I don't know what day it's going to be, but there is one coming up, and it will be announced this week. We'll get the new IP. I've heard a rumor they're already working on the one after that. I know we got Top Cow, but there's another IP coming shortly after. So we shall see how that goes. The new IP be announced this week. I heard a bad rumor about it too, though. We're not going to get it quite as soon as we were hoping. Ricky, 4, 1 for each Ninja Turtle. That would be awesome. Hey, John. I wish it was the Ninja Turtles. I can tell you without a doubt it is not the Ninja Turtles. Not yet. Not this one. But we shall see. Maybe soon. It'd be so cool to have the Ninja Turtles. I also heard a good story about Marvel Comics. They like some of the stuff that's going on. Did anybody see where Steve Dombrowski was put on by Lazarus? Some of you old-time players may know Steve was heavily involved with the game back in the 90s. And somebody at Marvel liked the idea that Lazarus brought him on. So we shall see. Look at that. You guys just doubled the likes just like that. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Wonder how many likes we could get if I had a partner instead of an empty chair tonight. Well, we'll just keep hitting those likes and ringing that bell, as they say. How have you guys liked the deck builder so far? You see any cards that you really liked? I know they kind of nerfed my Tars Tarkus Deja Thoris deck, but it's still pretty good. Johnny says rulebook mentions anime characters. Is it an anime IP? It is not. It is not an anime IP. I can't tell you that much. That's weird. I haven't read the rulebook yet. I know they put it up, last week or maybe the week before. I haven't had a chance to check it out, but that's interesting. I wonder why they would mention anime. Sean says, seeing the cards is fine, but the builder itself is glitchy. It is. It really is. I hope they get it fixed real soon. From what I heard, and I haven't tried to save any decks yet, but you can't. And if you do save one, it just sends you into a continual loop or something. But I like seeing all the cards, seeing the final art. As a play tester, we did not see any artwork ahead of you guys. We had none of the artwork on the cards that's actually being used. So we're seeing it all for the very first time. I love the Merlin character card. I like a couple of the Cthulhu cards, the Cthulhu hero or character. Things as such, they are looking good. A little disappointed with King Arthur's hero card. I'm hoping that the alternate art is a little bit better. The only thing I don't like about it is this one kind of looks a little on the anime side, and I'm not a fan of anime, but we shall see. Hopefully it gets better. I did put out the bounty on a foil King Arthur character card, and after looking at what cards are going to be ultra rare foils, there's only 13, so King Arthur may not get one of those ultra rare foil cards. So I may be out of luck on that. Josh says, I have my own deck builder spreadsheet, so Cardio has been great as a card search. John says, the set looks fun. It does look fun. I can't wait to play it. And he says, that's not true. Some of the play test cards have final art. Not the play test cards I got. I know we got the play test cards at that Friday night event, but they never made it back to my house. I don't know what happened to them. I think Carl's got them. I think I left them at the Airbnb. They either got thrown away or Carl has them. Yep, you're right. Some of those did have final art. I think the Watson Hero card for one was finalized in there. But there was not too many that I have seen final art on. John says, is pushing updates fast. Ty is pushing updates fast. Hopefully it'll be ready for prime time. And Doug says, yep, some of the playtest cards we got in Boston were final art. Yeah, I forgot about those because I didn't even get to look at them. I didn't get them out that whole weekend. And then, like I said, they never made it back to my house. I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. I can't wait to play them. I think it'll be interesting. I'm hoping the game does lead to a Marvel license down the road. That's when I'll be really excited. But we'll see. I would think a Marvel license is a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years down the road. Josh says, can't wait to get them. I have so many ideas for decks. Yeah, I know. We'll be building decks forever. 41 characters. Is that what it was? 41 or 43 characters? There's a lot of options there. So, I'm going to start with a question here for you guys. And tell me what you think. Zeus has a card. Hera. For remainder of the game, all numerical attacks made against Zeus are shifted to Hera. Hera is discarded after taking 10 damage. Hera may not be defended, and attacks do not count the venture total. This card may not be negated, and it is a 1 per deck. Now, if you attack Zeus with King Arthur's legendary partnership, acts as a level 7 combat attack. If successful, opponent must discard all cards in play with the text remainder of battle and remainder of game, also a 1 per deck. So if this one is successful against Hera, does it take Hera out of play, even though there's only 7 points against Hera instead of 10? Because Hera can't be defended, and it's going to be a successful attack. What do you think, Sean? Anyone else have an opinion? John says rules look good. Suggested seal format looks too expensive to run on a regular basis, but I'm going to try a few. Hey, Brett, how are you? Happy OP Monday. The Van Helsing power card will be in all my decks, says John. Yep. Phil Keffer says, I say yes. Mage says no. A hit against Terra is not successful. Josh says no, since it didn't hit a character. Brett says it's successful means it has to hit a character. Nate says successful hits are now only hits that land on a character. Interesting. Now, if you hit a different character with it, Hera would go away, right? Phil, boo, I got overruled. Got overruled really quick. Wow. No EB hits, no battle site hits. Okay. Interesting. So I guess that's in the rule book. I got to read it. Successful hits are now only hits that land on a character. And the 7 does not land. All numerical attacks made against Zeus are shifted to Hera. Hera is discarded after taking 10 damage. Okay. Well, that sucks. But it is what it is, right? We shall see. Be interesting. Anybody else have any questions on the rules that you've seen so far? I don't think there's very much out there that is up for debate. John says you can attack someone else and then the secondary effect will work. Yes, that is true. But what I'm thinking is, what if Zeus is the only character? Your opponent only has Zeus and Hera's in play. If you throw the 7 from King Arthur, would that take away Hera? Brett, you can also KL Hera away with someone like Van Helsing. Yes. Uh-oh. Joe Peters, how are you, buddy? You have a handful of questions. Let's hear them. Josh says, the new rule I'm having a harder time with is how cards that target only the opponent aren't considered attacks. What? Yeah, I have not read the rules through, Ricky. Yep, I thought I'd come straight to you guys. I just saw it while I was waiting to start the podcast. That's why I brought it up. Then you need to waste 10 venture. Wow. Joe, what do you mean you're working? Take a break. They won't mind. Just tell them you got things you got to take care of. You need a 20-minute break. I'm curious to see what you're coming up with, Joe. That would be interesting. Well, I was just thinking if I could get away with only hitting that Hera with 7 instead of 10. But I guess it's not going to work. Yes, an attack is now defined as something that targets a character. Let's go back to Josh's real quick. The cards target only the opponent aren't considered attacks. Brett says, that's a tough one, Josh. I agree. Attacks only target characters or locations. Anything that is opponent is not an attack, but a utility card. Opponent must discard all place universe cards isn't an attack. Ricky wants to know where's Dr. Pepper is, Joe. It must be an inside thing. Mages, so if you're hit with a trick transport, you could still use something like opponent must discard 1 place card, but not target must discard 1 place card. Phil Keffer, yeah, target discard can follow an AA, but opponent discard can't. Okay. I guess that's a rule that's only going to come into effect in Golden Age, right? Is that going to be very prevalent in the modern age? Michael, thanks for tuning in, buddy. We'll see you soon. Out of everything in the new rule book, that decision trips me up. Yeah, well, are there cards in this new set that target opponent? Seems like there was one about discarding all place universe cards, right? Was that in Angry Mob? There are some modern cards that affect the opponent. That's really weird. I wonder why they would do that. I thought, yeah, there it is. Angry Mob. Opponent must discard all placed universe cards. So it's not an attack? Disrupt supply lines from Angry Mob. Industrial targets opponents. Yeah. Yep. That's so odd. It also ties in with your ability to pass or not. They're back to the no passing with an attack in hand, but anything else can be passed with. Jessica wants to know what are the new multi-power rules. Just that there'll be 3, the only power cards will be the 3, 4, and what, a 5? Multis, you get 1 of each per deck. Yeah. I wonder why it's not considered an attack. I guess we'll have to bring Dave on here one night and have him explain some of these rulings. Right. They're all 1 per decks, but they no longer fuse. So a 3, a 4, and a 5 on the same character, and you're gone. Dave said it's about resolving the issues of being pinned, and being able to play +3 to venture, but not being able to play opponent -3 to venture, for example. Hey, Marcel, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the stream. I understand. John says they don't fuse, which is going to make it a little more interesting. You can now throw 2 multi-powers on the same character and have be 2 icons. Yeah, I mean, since you're only going to have 3 of them in the deck, what are the odds that you're going to throw 2 of them on one character anyways? It will be different. It's going to make it a little more challenging on your 1s and 2s, your power cards. You're going to play a 1 and a 2. You're not going to be able to just select multi-powers. It has lots of benefits. Fortress is 1, says Phil. Not having to use it because it's not an attack, so you can continue to pass with Fortress of Solitude in your hand. If you're winning the venture, you can pass with Fortress in your hand and don't have to give up the winning venture. That's interesting. I guess before next week's show, I'll try to read that rule book. Although I wasn't really planning on talking rules tonight. I was going to get into some other things. I thought Noor would stay and be on the show with me. We was going to talk about him having his reserved spot already. I did talk with Joe a little bit today on the phone. It looks like the regionals and the Nats are still up in the air. They don't have anything locked down as far as locations. And I got a feeling those dates are not written in stone, because that's going to be hard to do when you don't have a location. And that location may not be available at the date that you're trying for. But I did see some things that I really liked about those dates. So we will keep trying to get those finalized and let everybody know what's going on with that. Sean says any powers can now be called to become a power type for the purpose of the attack. Can we just not use any powers anymore? What's the purpose? There's just so much stuff in the old game. I won't say so much, but a couple things from the old game that I don't understand why they even bothered to bring it in, like an any power, like the universe cards, that you really have to try hard to make those universe cards playable. I'd have been happier if they just didn't bring universe cards into the new game, and I don't understand why we needed the any powers in the new game. I know a lot of people complained about any powers when they introduced them to the game at the beginning, and I just don't get it. I think I'd have been just as happy not having 8 any powers and special cards. As far as the power cards themselves go, I know we already had some, but just because you have them doesn't mean you have to make more, right? John says one PC is easy. Every character has at least one, and you probably only play a single 1 or 2. A level 1 power card. May says you're not obligated to use them, but there are uses for universe cards. There are uses for universe cards, but you got to really work the game mechanic to make them playable. They don't just flow with the game, especially when card advantage is so huge. You want to give up points so that you can have one sitting there that you can use 1 per turn up to 3 times in a game. I understand that's something that Phil and Marcel were very successful with over this last season. But I know when I play Phil Miller and he's got him sitting back there too, I tend to forget about him, and they come up at just the right time. He knows when to use them, and it works. But I I don't know. In the new format, we'll see how it translates into victories. And John says, any power that you play a split grid team with a little less risk. Sean says, yeah, I can't agree with your take on any powers. They have value to the game. Okay. They don't count toward Spectrum KO. They only count toward a cumulative. So there's that. I don't see any other advantage to them. It's actually kind of a disadvantage. If it was a icon on them instead of an any power, it would count towards Spectrum and cumulative. But Josh says, I think Spartan Training Ground will be a key defensive option for a lot of teams in Modern. It is definitely a defensive option in this game that has very little defense at the time, currently. I'm kind of curious to see how much defense they bring in when the next set is released. And like I said earlier, we're going to be able to probably talk about that next set next week. Supposedly, it's going to be announced this week. We're down to 4 days, guys. 4 days. Now you got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I guess you could count Saturday as this part of this week, but nobody announces major things like that on a Saturday, right? And they probably wouldn't announce it on a Friday. So hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday we get that announcement. And hopefully at the beginning of next week we start getting tracking numbers for that Kickstarter shipment, right? Brett says Spartan Training Ground plus Zoro is an excellent combo. Phil says a lot less character combos could be played without any power cards. Absolutely. A lot less could be played. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just don't think, outside of making teams flow a little bit better, I don't like the any powers. And as you know, I played a teamwork deck that had 3 different 8s on it, so I was using them. I just don't particularly care about them. And you know, the hand has the 8 any power special. So I was throwing a lot of any powers in that deck. But I still don't like them. Josh says, Zoro Spartan is basically Spawn Light, but any characters with 5s on their grids, like Ra and the Wicked Witch. Yay, Scott, how are you, buddy? Yes, my host is John Cena in the empty chair. John says, hard to play the home bases that have a point cost, hardly any 17 cost, a fair number is 16, but very hard to give up deck building points. I agree. So many of the characters are high in the point cost. And like, I'm looking at Carson of Venus right now. He's got 2 7s. He's only 18 points. Not bad. He's really good playing his Wumper decks from reserve. But, you know, if you got a 21 or a 22 point character, you need some of them lower cost characters. So he's just, I love the Wumper decks for him. What's he got? For remainder of game, any attack made on Carson's team may be moved to this card. Carson's team may not defend this card. Discard this card after 1 hit. May be played from reserve. So the equivalent of Stars and Garters, but playable from reserve. And then he has, opponent must reveal 3 cards from hand, chosen at random. Opponent must discard one of the revealed cards of opponent's choice. May be played from reserve. Playing 221B, you're going to pitch 2 of them. Team defense. Oh, I don't see any team defense. Although target character may not use cards with an energy icon for remainder of battle. He's got an avoid 1 attack. He's got a 5 or a 7 brute force attack or a level 5 intellect. intelligence for defense. If used to defend, opponent's turn immediately ends, but that's only against Carson. That wouldn't be a team defense. Count of Monte Cristo. He now has draw 3, discard duplicates, so they kind of trimmed that card down a little. At one point, that was going to be something like if you discard 2 or more of the 3 cards, reshuffle the card back into the deck. It was kind of a cool attribute. You could actually take a chance and draw 3 sooner in the hand, and if you dupe on it, just shuffle the card right back into the deck. It's not going to be like playing the Marvel or the DC sets, because the Marvel are comic book characters, DC's comic book characters that we grew up, most of us grew up with. A lot of guys in the game play the game without ever having read comics, and they're just playing it because the game is so fun to play and it is strategic. But if you're playing the game because you read Marvel comics or DC comics as a kid, this set's going to be a little bit different. We do have the Edgar Rice Burroughs characters, so if you read those as a kid or you saw some movies, TV shows, there's the nostalgia there. But they're the only ones that are going to bring nostalgia. I can't see Count of Monte Cristo being nostalgic to too many people. I'm sure some people read the book, so they can't wait to play the character. But it's still going to be a lot of fun playing these characters. And like I said, if a year or 2 down the road we get to add Marvel to it, all the better. Josh says, I think Carson might be even better up front. Same with Morgan Le Fay. I agree, Josh. They are really cool. Both of those characters, they had the advantage of being in reserve, but they're pretty strong to be on the front line. And Dr. Watson's the same way. And when I build my Dr. Watson deck, I don't think he'll be in reserve. I think I'll play him up front. Working on something with AJ on that one. And AJ, where are you, man? Haven't seen you yet. Hey, Keith. Joey's in the house. How you doing, freak? Keith says, what do you guys think about the amount of AA specials and personal voids in the new set? The AAs are kind of useful. Everybody loves chain attacks right now, right? The personal voids are probably not going to see a whole lot of play. There is some ability to shift attacks in the game, whether it's through events or whatever. So you can make those voids a little playable, but I don't think they're going to see a lot of play, no. And Sean says, I think giving characters draw 3s and draw 4s was a mistake. Well, how about that? Sean finally admits that they brought something into the new game that they maybe should have left in the old game. Just like I feel about any powers. I kind of agree with you on that one, Mage. I could have lived without draw 3s and draw 4s. Had no problem at all leaving those in the old game. Freak says, with all the higher cost characters being released, I feel it's only a matter of time before the 76 point total will be potentially increased. I don't think so. I think they're purposely trying to balance the game through high-costed threat levels. But we shall see. Mage says, yes, I'm certainly more interested in the literary and mythological characters than the comic characters. Not that I dislike comic characters. Oh, right. That's what I mean. I don't dislike the literary characters either. I love them. But it doesn't make me nostalgic to play them like playing the Marvel characters does. But, I can't wait to play Cthulhu. I can't wait to play the Count of Monte Cristo. The Headless Horseman is going to be a lot of fun to play. There's so many. Deja Thoris. 18 points and a max 6, but her 3-1 per decks are pretty solid. So I could play her. I don't like that they took her off of the Tars Tarkas card, but it does make sense when you go back and read the books or read the comics. It's John Carter and Tars Tarkas. So I totally get why they would take her off of there. It might have made Tars Tarkas just a little overpowered, but putting him with John Carter and not playing Deja Thoris might be just as lethal. Scott Flint. Oh, Josh agrees with you, Sean. How about that? Scott Flint, play with Beyonder in the Switch Reserve event. There's so much. I can't wait to play in the first tournament and see what everyone comes up with. Captain Corum, how are you, buddy? Although I'm most excited for ERB characters, I think a lot of people are nostalgic about the Wicked Witch, Robin Hood, Zorro, Three Musketeers, Hercules, Sherlock Holmes, and plenty of others. Okay. I hope you're right, because I want to see people buy this stuff up and make them go to another printing. Josh says the pulp and literary characters are a fantastic addition to OP. Couldn't agree more. My take on personal voids, maybe not as strong in isolation, but with the various ways to shift attacks and lock down characters, they may become more useful. John says, I want to make it harder to generate in 2/8 and a negate. Yes. Marcel, the hidden gem, y'all. Sheriff of Nottingham. Just saying. The sheriff looks fun for sure. And Josh agrees with you. And so does Sean. How about that? All the characters are good, truth be told. It will be all about the synergies. I think they've done a really balanced game. My partner who's not here tonight, I'm having a hard time getting him hooked on these new characters. But I think he'll come around once he starts playing them. Josh says, haven't found the right team for him just yet, but I got my eye on the sheriff. And Joe says, the new characters will be fun, but I am and always have been in the game for the comic characters, especially Marvel. I agree. I don't play Spawn. I don't play any of the Image characters, although I've dabbled with them a little bit, but they're not why I'm playing Overpower. Captain says, yeah, the Green Martians were about to kill Deja before John Carter stepped in. Yeah, I totally get why they took her off of the card. But it would have been a lot funner to play, a lot easier to play Tars Tarkas with Deja than Tars Tarkas with John Carter. That doesn't mean we won't give it a try, right? Marcel says, can't wait to screen pay your taxes. That's funny. John says, Sheriff is on 2 of my test decks. Really? 2 of them? Okay. Stefan, how are you? My question is for the Invisible Man sitting next to you. Why are you stealing cards better than Robin Hood? Well, you know what? I love the Invisible Man. Is there anything he can't do? I'm going to pull up his cards. But I don't know. I think the Invisible Man should steal better. Don't you? Invisible Man may choose 1 card from the power pack playable by him and put in hand. May not be a duplicate. For remainder of game, Invisible Man may play attacks face down. Opponent must guess defense or discard 2 cards on the top of draw pile into dead pile to reveal the attack. That's pretty sweet. Hey, there's AJ. How are you, buddy? I guess your Zoom meeting didn't go too long. Good to have you. Invisible Man will be a pain for sure. And Keith says he really likes the Invisible Man. Yeah. He's got a JW Light, a 5 that cannot be defended by a special card, which can still be negated. That part drives me nuts. How are you guys feeling about the astral plane thing? This card is in the astral plane. I'm going to negate it while it's in the astral plane, and it never lands down onto the table to attack my character. I hate it. Opponent must reveal a hand and play open-handed for remainder of battle. The Invisible Man's 1 per deck, and you're playing 221B, so you get to choose 1 of them to discard. Acts as a level 0 brute force attack. This attack may only be defended by a power card of level 5 or greater. We saw that in the X-Men? So nothing new there, but it is something that may see play now. None of the X-Men characters that had it were used very often, even back in the day. He says, my kids are running around the house right now, taking turns being either the Invisible Man or the Invisible Girl and saying, I've murdered before. Oh, Keith, what are you letting your kids watch on TV? That's hilarious. Sean says, Astral Plane is fine. My biggest bugbear is their whole take on cards that act as other card types. So, Sean, you're okay with them now being able to negate the JWs? So anything in the Astral Plane can be negated, even though it says cannot be defended by a special, and a negate is a special. To me, that's just bad English. I don't know. A lot of little Iceman OPDs will be involved, says AJ. There are so many cards that are going to be out there that affect remainder battle, remainder of game, that the cards like the little Iceman, the KLs, I think will see some play. I can't wait to see what the meta evolves into. Captain says Astral Plane may seem more complicated than necessary, but I don't see how you can make the words act as on special card mean anything without doing something like that. And again, another thing from the old game into the new game, why do you have to have a card that acts as? You need to establish exactly when it transitions. Yep. Brett says, I think they've established the definition of defend does not include negating. Yes, and that is what they're saying. Joe Peters says, playing a card defensively and having it not count as a defense is counterintuitive for sure. Thank you, Joe. Uh-oh. Better go to low power mode. It looks like my battery's dying on my iPad. I don't mind the cards acting as other card type, but I don't like that it no longer acts as its original card type. Specials that act as power cards should retain both properties. I agree. Freak Show says, I thought you didn't have to make use of the Astral Plane if you choose not to. What? I'm not sure what that's all about. Bill Keffer, other than Nightcrawler, the Access Power Card specials from the old game say they can't be combined with Universe cards. Any chance they are scrapping that can't combine with all the old cards? I don't know. I got a feeling in another year or so we won't be talking about how they interact with the old cards near as much, because we'll have so many new cards to play with. We shall see. John says JW needed to be fixed, so negating one doesn't bother me. It does definitely neuters the JW, even though there's not that many negates in the game right now. Captain says, but don't the negate cards have the little shield symbol so you know they can be played defensively? Yes. There are a couple that can only be played offensively, though. AJ says, I have an idea what the meta will be. Just need the cards to come out to play. I hope everyone is excited to open packs again. We all are, for sure, I believe, AJ. I can't wait. By the way, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., if you missed out on the Kickstarter, booster boxes will be on our website, heroesandgames.com, and they will be available to pre-order, and we will ship them out this day after we receive them, which, according to some people, may be as early as next week. A neutered JW is fine by the mage. Captain says they're saying it has the little shield so you know it can be used to defend, but it doesn't count as defending. Right. That's a great point, Captain. And John says AC specials already weren't a defense in the old game, so I don't have a mental disconnect. Josh says meta predictions, card advantage, numerical defense, venture generation, KO pressure. What do you think? Well, I think you nailed it, Josh. Joe Peter says correct playing a card defensively doesn't mean it's a defense. One of the two should be reworded to make it easier to understand. And Josh totally agrees with you, Joe, calling that a great point. Playing it defensively doesn't mean it's a defense. Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, Joe. We would have to discuss that a little farther. Although I guess technically you could say a negate's not defensive. It's got to be defensive. Making my head hurt thinking about it. It's got to be defensive, and it can also be a defense. So technically a negate can be both, right? Johnny wants to know, how many boxes are you putting up for sale? We're going to start with 24 boxes. I know it's not a whole lot, but right now I've only got 42 coming. So Sean says, I agree the language is muddied, but the intent is fairly simple. Joe says it has very specific meaning. And Keith says, I think they'll probably end up adding more symbols in future sets for clarity. He would. Sheesh, I don't know. If you start adding too many symbols, then the card looks cluttered. So we would have to discuss that, whether or not one or two more icons on there might be a little too much. And Josh says, I think they ought to have different timing icons for attack, defense, utility, and response. Reiki says, defensive and offensive icons are simply to say when they can be used. All right, Goat, what do you say? Negate is not defense, it is a utility. Opponent discard all place universe is not an attack, it is a utility. Sean says, if they keep adding symbols, then the cards will be all symbols, right? I love having the symbols on there. I had suggested that a long time ago so that we would know what we could play offensively and what we could play defensively. So I love that part. I don't know how many icons I'm willing to put up with on my cards, though. Keep that beautiful art showing. Captain says, I have no problem with any of these mechanics. I just really hope, however they explain the little shield symbol in the rules, accounts for all this. Okay, how are ya? Sorry to come in out of nowhere. Being an English major and playing card games for over 30 years, it's impossible to be clear in card games with English as its main language. The English language is definitely not very clean, right? I understand what you're saying completely. It's hard. At some point, you just got to get it as close as you can, right? John says card real estate is already at a premium. I agree. I love seeing the artwork, and I don't want to see it too cluttered. Captain says, I know the goal was to not have to memorize a long list of special exemptions for everything like the old game. This seems like a situation where they need to stick to that. Yep. Keith likes your word there, Harvey. Captain says, I will be disappointed if the shield symbol means something different, specifically for negates. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, Captain, and I don't know how we can reword it to make it say anything else. Marcel says he would buy Japanese overpower. Sorry, let me clarify. It's not possible to be 100% clear. Right. But yes, get as close as you can and clarify words to be universal in your game. Yep, I understand exactly what you mean. The English language is so inconsistent. Anthony says a defense is defined in the term sheet as it either blocks or avoids the attack or invalidates the target. Sean says, did you notice that Dracula's To the Last Man has been reworded? So in mixed format, which of the cards will be allowed? And Scott says, Doug loves clutter and poor grammar. You did really good there, Scott. You hit all of my pet peeves there. Clutter and poor grammar. All right, Sean, in the legacy of the golden age, whatever they're calling it, the non-modern format, you cannot mix the Daredevil or the Dracula specials. You have to play either or. So I would say, if you're playing the modern Dracula, you play the modern cards. If you're playing the Golden Age Dracula, you play the Golden Age specials. Not that it should matter, but you can't mix the Golden Age and the modern specials for Dracula. I believe they said that's the way they're going to rule it in the Golden Age format. Are they? I am eagerly awaiting to play it too. AJ came over earlier this afternoon and was playing some games with Nor and Jessica. We're really excited. We can't wait to play. And when the modern cards are actually in our hands, we're going to be putting away the Golden Age cards and just concentrating on the modern. Keith says maybe change defense to response. And then some cards you play in response are either defense or utility responses. And Phil Keffer says, I think you can choose which Dracula card set to play. I think you can too, but you can't mix them. You can't play part of the Golden Age and part of the modern. John says, Shield just tells you if you can play the card on your opponent's turn in response to their actions. A defense is clearly defined in the rules. And Marcel likes your idea, Keith. Scott says, time to clock out. Gave me a compliment. Yeah. It's probably the only time I'll be able to be nice to you all year, Scotty, at least all summer, because we all know that the Yankees are going to suck this year, right? Captain says, Anthony, my Piazza? I don't even know what that word is. So if negating is considered invalidating the attack rather than avoiding it, then the shield symbol still means the same thing on every card, so that's awesome. Mamma mia. Captain, how about that? I mean, Keith, Anthony, you made the captain very happy. And Marcel said, it is defined, John. You are correct. That's okay. I can get behind that if we have different terminology, defense and response. But right now we don't, do we? Captain says, thanks for clarifying that, John. I have not read the new rules yet. Hey, Charlie, how are you? Anthony says, Mamma mia, I thought it said specifically that negates aren't defenses, but I can't remember. And Freak says, yes, Yankees suck. Oh, nice. Thanks, Joey. John says, ban the new bat design now. Baseball is looking bad. You know what? I saw that. I thought it was just a joke. And then you find out the Yankees hit like 8 home runs in one game or something. Ugh. Ricky says, can I play Dracula on my team with Dracula and Legacy? No, you cannot. You cannot play 2 Draculas on the same deck. Scott says, torpedo bats, just called Judge Captain Nemo. I think it's somebody's found a loophole. We'll see if baseball allows it to go on. Ricky says, as long as they don't use each other's cards. No, Ricky, I think they've already said that you cannot do that. But I guess it's going to be up to who's ever running the Golden Age events, right? Because I don't think Lazarus plans to run Golden Age events. I could be wrong about that. We'll see. He says, I've been pondering if they'll ban dual wielding Dracs because they're so similar. Yeah, you can't play both Drac. I mean, it'd be almost impossible, wouldn't it? Could you get the points? It'd be hard. I guess it wouldn't be impossible, but I'm pretty sure they did say that it's a no-no. You can't play them both. An invisible man may use any intelligence power card level 1 to 8 to avoid any attack made against him for the remainder of the game. Wow. The Invisible Man, intellect. He's a 6 intellect. 17 points. Oh, boy. Doug, it's pronounced Paisan. Okay, Paisano. And it's a term of endearment for a fellow Italian. Thank you, Captain. Anthony says, I want 4 Draculas on the same team. He says, you can get the points. Dracula's 22 points, right? Or is he 23? 22 would, yeah, you could do it with 216 characters if he's 22. Phil says, bats are legal. I think only 2 players hit home runs with them in the 9 home run game. Okay, that's interesting. John says, only 1 Dracula. Scotty, your boy Divers is like me in the playoffs, 0 for 19. Yeah, he's struggling, ain't he? He'll come out big time, though. Marcel says he's showing up to the Nats with all foil heroes. I've been bugging Joe to try to get the odds. We find out how hard it's going to be to hit those foils. And it also looks, are they going to do a foil of all the character cards and 13 other cards? I just want to know how hard it's going to be. And Joe said it is on the wrappers, but he didn't have easy access to the literal words that are on the wrappers right now. But we will, at some point, know what the odds are of getting those ultra rare foil cards. I'm excited. I want the Merlin almost as much as I want the King Arthur, but I have to see what the alternate are. The Merlin character right now that's in the deck builder, if there's a foil version of that, I would absolutely love it. And I would want that one. But I don't know. We shall see. Hey, Captain, thanks for joining in. We'll see you on the Discord. Oh, I started posting in the Discord once, and then I kind of quit. Hey, this OP, no baseball talk. Oh, sorry. We get distracted around here. You should know that. At least I haven't brought up Bo Jackson, right? Ricky says you'll be able to get more Draculas possibly in draft if the stars align. Are they doing foils of each angry mob? That's a great question. And Anthony says full Dracula draft team. Yeah, I can't wait to see the foil breakdowns. And I'll tell you right now, as soon as my package arrives with those booster boxes in it, I'm going to do a live stream. We're going to break some boxes live on stream. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. We will do it. John says, Marcel is blinding your opponent with the glare of a major point of strategy. He'll take any advantage he can get, John. I guarantee it. John says, Bo knows how many foils are in the set. He does, but he's not replying to me. So I don't know. And Joe has not confirmed it yet. Oh, Scott, that's a low blow. There isn't baseball in Canada? I'm really curious to see the foil cards. So when I get them, guys, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when I go live to break down boxes, because I'm going to do it as soon as they're here. I'm going to break down 2 boxes. Jessica's going to break down 2 boxes. Nora's going to break down 2 boxes. I believe Corey's going to do 3 boxes. AJ's probably going to do 3 boxes. And I'm going to try and get him to do as many live on stream as we can. So we will have a really good idea of how many foils there are. What are the odds of getting the foils? Josh wants to know what's my take on Lancelot. I don't think he's playable. I was really disappointed in Lancelot. They kind of nuked him. Joey says, yes, Bo knows where the foils are. Mate says, they dropped Lancelot threat cost from 18 to 18 from 19. I think that one change actually makes a huge difference. It's called baseball. Really, Sean? You thought dropping him 1 point made a difference? I don't think he's that playable. I looked him over. I didn't look real close, but I didn't like what I saw. Oh, what did I do there? Lancelot, he's 18 points. Attack made on teammate is now made on Lancelot, who may defend. Any follow-up attack must be made on Lancelot and are -2 to attack, which is pretty cool. Sort through the dead pile and find sword and shield and immediately put it into play. Lancelot team is +2 to venture total this battle. This card may not be negated, which is okay because there ain't that many negates. Acts as a level 5 combat or brute force multi-power card. If sword and shield is in play, this card may be used to defend. But again, it'd only defend Lancelot. Lancelot, remove 1 hit from Lancelot's hits to current battle or permanent record. Affects venture total. Lancelot may retrieve sword and shield from the dead pile and immediately put it in play. Sword and shield says Lancelot's power card attacks are +2 for remainder of battle. Lancelot may discard this card from play to avoid one attack made on it. Lancelot. But so if you're not attacking Lancelot, he also has True Strike, which is a level 7 combat attack. If Sword and Shield is in play, acts as a level 10 any power attack. So I don't know. He doesn't seem to stand out. And again, when you put him with King Arthur, you're running short on level 8 characters you can choose to play with him. Hey, John, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Ricky says more like Lance a little. I like that. That's funny. Or lame a lot, as Keith would say. I don't think he's quite lame, but I don't think he's Lance a lot. We shall see. I like him at 18 because he counterbalances higher cost and his cards aren't bad for that price, says Sean. I don't know. Once I have the cards, I'll probably break them down a little bit more. Take a look at him. I just think I kind of like Billy the Kid better, right? Billy the Kid's pretty cool, and I think Billy's only 17 points. You run Lance, Arthur, and Merlin. You get the FF Plus effect going with Merlin specials. You do, but you don't have an 8. And I built that deck. It was fun to play, but I was always just a little bit behind because I never had the level 8 power card attacks. And I know you're thinking, well, it's only one level. But if you get into a power pack and you're only going to get 1 through 7, and your opponent's going to have 1 through 8, at least a chance at 1 through 8, it makes a difference. Oh, lucky there, Sean. We finally agreed on one. Billy the Kid is great, and he's so fun. I'm really surprised that Corey hasn't used him more. He tried him there for a little bit, but he ended up taking him out, and I don't remember who he replaced him with. But Billy might be fun to play. I think, Sean, playing King Arthur with Merlin without Lancelot is actually better. And then find your 8. You can go with either an 8 fighting or an 8 energy at that point. I played Wicked Witch with the 2 of them and Watson in reserve. It was a lot of fun. Would it be a dominating deck? I don't know. I don't think so. But it'd be fun. I got a nasty Billy and Sun Wukong combo that's been frustrating Dave. I like it. I like it when Dave gets frustrated. Josh says only max 7 under 18 threat levels. Yep. Your 8 stats are you're going to pay to get an 8 stat. You're not going to get them cheap like in the old game. Keith says Billy's got that nasty 5 combat, PF, and regulators. I'm going to pull up Billy's cards right here. Let's see. I need to see what's there. may play numerical special cards from reserve. That's hilarious. How many specials does he have from reserve? 1, 2. He has 2 numerical specials he can play from reserve. I think that's why Corey likes playing him. It reminds him a little bit of Hawkeye. Josh says Billy will help keep some beefy frontline teams legal while still doing cool stuff from reserve. But he seems so strong up front. Sean, I am really interested to see how Wukong Billy team looks. I've been looking at that pair a lot. Here, Billy's 1 per deck. He's got for remainder game, Billy the Kid and target teammate may shift any attack that targets either character to the other if they immediately defend the attack with a power card. That's pretty funny. I like it. And then, of course, he's got the avoid 1 attack and move Billy the Kid into reserve for remainder of battle. Billy the Kid may attack with power cards while in reserve. If opponent cannot target any frontline character, immediately return Billy to the front line. So, Billy's fun. I think he's got to see some play. Let's see. Sean says 2 of his own plus army heroes. Any heroes, right? Good point. The any heroes can also be played through him. The Freak says Merlin ain't scary. Gambit killed Merlin in the X of Swords series. Yep. Josh, right now it's a mixed format. Billy, Sun, Silver Samurai, and Hawkeye. That's interesting. Look at you, playing without a negate. I like it, Sean. No negates. I think we're going to all learn to play a little bit without a negate, right? This new set, only Merlin has 1 other than a couple guys with their 1 per decks. And then a couple guys have offensive only negates. Yep, Josh, he's going to be removing hits left and right. You ain't got no negates to stop him. Well, in the mixed format, you might. Definitely won't in this new format. You won't have too many. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Keith, good night, buddy. Get those kids ready for bed so they can go off to school tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. I appreciate all the likes. We're up to 14, so if you don't mind, hit a like, subscribe, ring the bell. Make sure you get a notifications for when we go live next week. We'll try and stream a whole bunch of box openings if they actually come out next week. If not, we'll do it the week after. So y'all have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. It's been fun, and I think we did pretty good without my sidekick here. Hopefully he'll be back soon. I think 2 more weeks. So you guys have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.